years. And super excited about today's first mastermind for 2022. And here on stage, virtual stage, we have some powerful players. Looking forward to hear from you guys. And thanks again for sharing. We had some people that couldn't make it, some of the speakers as we promoted, and I apologize, but they going to make it up by joining the different session in the future. So let's see who was in the room, and I'm super excited to kind of brainstorm with you guys some ideas and some insight. And once again, you guys, feel free to share some questions and other thoughts or what have you. So let's start with ladies first. Nicole, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. How y'all doing today? My name is Nicole Pletkovich, and I work out of the LA Harbor office, which is Rancho Palos Verdes. I know we're probably all over the place, but we're all out of LA area. So I've been in this business for 10 years. I started working for our broker and owner of this office, Gordon Inman, as his assistant. Yes, that's where I started. And I was actually just graduated high school, and I had no idea what it meant to be a real estate agent. I just knew it was Keller Williams, and I was his right hand for many years. And then I got my license and started, doing more and outside of the office stuff instead of just marketing and assistant, and obviously got licensed. And then now I'm a sales partner with Gordon. So I've had a really interesting and incredible journey in real estate, which is kind of rare for my age to have this many years in the game. So I'm pretty familiar with all the agents on the Hill, the old timers, and I've always kind of just been like the youngest one in the group. So it's been pretty cool learning from everyone. That's my story.
Shout out to you, really. I mean, you guys crushed it last year, and this year you're starting with a big bang as well. If you want to pitch listings at the end, okay, guys, just hold it for a second. But thanks, Nicole, for your attitude and for being here. We're going to hear more about what good stuff you have going on. Richard, thanks for being here. Let me just unmute you for a second.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I'm Richard Spurling at KW Coastal office. Don't have a really interesting story. I was just been in corporate America for a long time. During that time, I did some home flipping, and I knew I loved real estate from the beginning, but I continued in product management in corporate America, and then decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. So I got my license. I first got my license in '92. So I've been at it for a while, and then just resurfaced here about 4 years ago at Coastal Properties. That's really there is all about me. It's not a whole lot.
And Richard is a very humble guy, as you can tell, and he's also a veteran. Thank you for his service. So it's going to be interesting to hear that kind of attitude, right? Right, left, to see that how he brings that to the to his business and practice. So thanks for being here, Richard. Jason DuFault is in the house. Let me just mute. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Jason DuFault out of the Coastal Properties office, running the KW commercial portion of our business. I'm a father of 4. I've got 3 through college so far. I got 1 left. Married to a lovely lady. My life is blessed. I love what I do. Been selling real estate for a while, been in finance, and I'm always looking for something else to do rather than real estate, because it seems like that's all that I do all the time. So I try a little golf, I try a little sailing, try to get some new hobbies and stuff, but that's pretty much it. My family takes most of my time, and my work takes the other half, and try to do the best I can, and I'm having fun with what I do. I love making an impact in other people's lives. So we do a lot of charity work with the Precious Lamb Preschool for the Homeless here in Long Beach. That's a big push for us. And we currently just got a new client we're working with the homeless, the mental health MALA, the Mental Alliance for Los Angeles for mental health. and reaching out for education and things with them too. So we're starting to do business with them. That's going to be a big impact for people here in Los Angeles and in our local community.
Thanks, Jason. Just well said. And Jason he's the director of commercial out of the coastal office in that region too. So thanks for your time and get your insight of what we're going to talk today. So let me ask you guys a question. It doesn't have to be in a specific order, and you can feel free to jump in and answer and ask questions one another. But first of all, what are your big rocks? What are your top priorities? Like, for the day, for the week, how do you approach that from your aspect of the business? And those who are new to our lingo, whoever's watching now and later, big rocks is pretty much the top 20, percent, whatever is imperative to focus on in our business to make it, work, to make the best ROI. So open mic, what are your top, your big rocks?
I can go ahead and start off. My big rocks are obviously my clients and then my time. My time is like the most valuable thing in the world. And I think I always put that kind of at the top. I try to be as efficient as possible. And because in this business, it's easy to be spread really thin. And then my last big rock is my family and personal life. That's really important to me too. And so everything from me goes back to being about balance. And balance is like my keyword to everything. Like I'm always trying to achieve balance. Because if not, then you're spread thin and you're not doing anything good. So balance to me is my top priority.
Awesome, yeah. And we are going to touch more on balance as well later on to see what does it mean to you guys and how do you keep the balance balanced, right? Awesome, thanks for sharing. Who else? What are big rocks?
Well, I guess I'd say my big rock is building a business foundation. I'm just used to building long-term results as opposed to just quick money and quick results. So one of my things is creating a foundation for the business that's going to make it lasting, whether I'm still here or not. The business will still be lasting and profitable. And how I do that with my second big rock is building partnerships. I'm not necessarily looking to have a humongous team, but I am looking to build partnerships with other agents, which is what I'm doing. And that was one of my goals for 2022 was to really step forward and build partnerships with other agents to make them and myself profitable and have some, I'm old, so I won't be around much longer, but for them, they'll still have some foundational business that they can tie into or they can go out on their own. It's up to them, so.
Yeah, Richard has only about 100 years left, so it's not a lot, so make the best out of it. Good stuff. Yeah. Jason, what about you?
Well, what's the metaphor of the rock? Is the rock hard to move, or is the rock kind of the staple of my diet on a business diet every day? I mean, I guess along the same lines, networking for me is my big thing. I'm not a big believer in balance. Good luck achieving that stuff. I think when this business takes off, you tend to deal with what's most important first, the must-dos, and that changes every day. I think the steno pad has been my friend for years. I stack them up at a rapid rate and have really no, particular way in which I deal with things unless they need immediate attention. And then it's all lead generation. I mean, I try to keep it as simple because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I try to keep it real simple, the lead generation, networking, and putting out fires on deals that are currently going on. But I am disciplined and consistent. And I think that's part of my rock. The thing I do really well is I come back at you every day and I never go away.
I am disciplined and consistent, right? There's also like strong affirmations. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. So how do you manage your time? Before talking about balance, right? The unbalanced balance. How do you manage your time? You wake up in the morning, then what? How do you manage your time? Daily, weekly? Shoot.
Go ahead, Nicole, you go first.
Sure, I'll take it away. I'm kind of what you said. I'm like to keep things simple, but I'm also like a scatterbrain. So I have to be organized or else like my mind goes a million miles an hour. Like I'm someone at night, like I take like 2 hours to fall asleep because my mind is still going. So for me, managing time is so, so, so important. I work off of my calendar. I have to. My Google Calendar is everything is on there, so I can like take it out of my brain and just put it in my calendar, and my calendar will tell me where I need to go next, because I'm someone who needs to focus pretty much like a couple of things at a time. And I'm always multitasking, but I don't want to be spread too thin. And so my calendar is everything on how I manage time, literally. And that's how I do it. I have to give time for lead generating. I have to put my showings, blah, 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 and et cetera. So yeah, that's how I manage it. Balance has never been achieved. I've never actually achieved balance. So like you suggested, yes, you're right. It's like an unachievable thing, but it's kind of keeps me focused and tries to, run my life that way. Yeah, from the minute I wake up, it's on the calendar.
Very, very purposeful. Yeah. Let's talk to the veterans in the room. Yeah. What about you, Richard?
So I was raised in the military, and after that, quasi-military. So my time has pretty much been set from there, and that's just the way I've lived, my life basically. So I do have what I do in the morning. I do wake up in the morning, and I do my exercising and get my wife off to work, fix her tea or lunch or whatever she needs, and I get off to work. And it's just that doesn't need to be managed per se, because it's just a discipline that occurs on a daily basis. Beyond that, I manage based on what my priorities are, which is obviously I need money to run the business and to help other people become successful. So in the mornings, I do deal with lead generation and with lead follow-up. And everything I do in the office is set. So I use Google Calendar, and I use a paper calendar. And my Google Calendar is generally those things that I have to do out in the field, or those places that I have to be that aren't done consistently every day. The things that are on my written calendar are those things that I use, for example, marketing. I know when I have to get my newsletter out. I know when I have to just list this. So that's marketing stuff that when I come to the office, I do, because I generally don't do that in the field. So those are the main tools that I use to manage my time. But as far as how I manage it, I just manage it according to my priorities.
That goes back to the big rocks. Yeah. Awesome. Good stuff. Jason DuFault. I'm disciplined and I'm consistent.
By nature, excuse me, by nature, I'm more free range. So I do things that consistently get me closest to the dollar with lead generation, and everything else I try to push off to somebody else. When it comes to, let's say, for accounting for my business, I have a bookkeeper. I oversee that. I oversee that work, but I have someone do that for me. I try to get as much stuff out the door and leverage too with partnerships with people for things that I don't do really well. If I don't have the ability to do something techie to get something done, I'll bring someone in on a deal with me to do that work, so I'm not bogged down doing things that I'm not good at. And that's okay with me. I try to do that and shuffle that around my whole kind of approach to my professional life, so that I can stick into, like I tell my people I work with, get me in the room, we'll get the deal done. And then we'll get to work and we'll figure out what you can do and what I can do best. Because the truth is what measures, what you measure gets done. So I just measure how many appointments I have, how many presentations I get, how many people I talk to. And I never put myself in a position not to be successful without uncovering all the different options. And I do that on a daily basis. I don't necessarily have a structure. I get up in the morning, I exercise, and I do what I need to do, but it's more free range than I allow myself, because I allow myself to get to the lead generation, which is the most important part of this business. and finding the people I need to talk to on a regular basis, which I like doing. That's the best part of the business for me.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Wow. So Nicole, back to you, because you kind of threw it out there talking about balance, right? So life work balance. What does it mean? How do you balance? How do you juggle it? You know, and once again, you guys last year just crushed it. You had the busiest year, I think. And you know, how do you make it happen?
Yeah, it's very, very challenging. That's why I live off of my calendar, and that's why I schedule myself. But I'm also in the office Monday through Friday. And there are times when I work from home when, you know, I feel like I need to and whatever, and it works. But mostly I come into the office because that keeps me focused. And it kind of keeps me in touch with my sales partner. And I think, you know, when at home, it's easy to like veer off into other things. When I'm in the office, I'm doing work. So that helps me as well. And so when I go home, I can at least try to be home. But balance is really hard in real estate, and it's always commingling. You know, I always tell everyone I work 7 days a week, 24/7. I take calls at 9 o'clock at night. I take text messages at 6 a.m. if I need to. And that's because I'm actually totally fine with that. If you're not, you need to set your own boundaries. For example, there are days where I just say I'm not responding to anyone until starting at 9 a.m. And that's because I just need to go about my morning and go about my, you know, life, and can create some balance. So that's what works for me, setting my own boundaries. And sometimes those boundaries are really loose. And so that means I'm with my family and I'm still working. And that's because I want to. So I can set the tone, and you're in control of that. I always feel that way. You're in control of it. You can organize yourself. There's really, you know, no excuse to that.
Yeah. And I mean, also what I hear you say is that the family also have a part in that too, right? They have to participate in that balance or willingness to do so.
Yeah. And I think if you have kids, it's a little bit different. You know, that probably changes for people. If you're a mom, I'm not there yet. So, but for me right now, I'm completely focused and dedicated to work. And I intermingle them both. If I just have to set my own boundaries.
Yeah, that's the balance we're talking about, right?
That's the balance.
Yeah. Jason, you said, Nicole, good luck with the balance. So what does it mean?
Good luck with that. Well, what I'll tell you, my answer to a good balance is WIFE. My wife is fantastic. So she allows me to do what I need to do, and she supports me 100%. And getting a structure around yourself, whether it's family or friends, to support you, to help you. I think the biggest lesson I learned in balance has to do a lot with like the work here, is that we're not supposed to do all this by ourselves. And once you figure out that you need to get help and have people around you help and seek out the best in other things, it becomes less of a burden, and the balance will present itself at certain times, and you'll find that perfect, you know, equilibrium, and you'll be in vacation, your phone will be ringing, you'll be doing a lot of deals, and you'll be very happy for that 20 minutes that you had perfect balance, and you fall right back off the rock and you climb back up again. But my support system at my family is really a combination of the balance, the rock, all of it allows me to do what I need to do. And that's really important. And you can find that with people around you, your family. You know, if you don't have a special person, you know, you can create it with other ways.
Thanks for sharing. Richard.
Well, I guess my balance is, I think maybe my disciplines help me create balance. So, I mean, I usually get to the office somewhere about 7:30 or so, maybe a little after. So I can't imagine that there's anything that no agent up to this point has called me before that time. So I do what I need to do at home. And then when I get to the office, I do what I have to do there. I balance that with when it's time for lunch. Some may have seen me. When it's time for lunch, I warm my food up, sit at the desk, close the door and turn on the video, and I eat lunch for 30 minutes. After that, I get back to work. When it's time for me to get off, I can leave the office knowing that, you know, I put in a good day's work and I did the things I'm supposed to do. So when I get home, I can take care of home life. Now, I do take calls after, but it's just not that frequently that I have to, fortunately. And I do take Sundays off, and I only go out on a Sunday if I absolutely have to. So I just try to use the separation of work and life to kind of maintain a balance. And I think just being disciplined in those things help me do that.
Yeah, and you know, once again, I think you really have to have a strong discipline to be able to do it, right? Unless there's like the unknowns, etc. So when did you guys learn how to say no to things that, or maybe you don't master that yet, right? To things that kind of contradict your schedule, messing up your plans, because you have to. It's a skill, be able to say no, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much never say no. I don't think I've ever, it's just being strategic and it's being efficient. So just for example, today I have 9 showings for a new listing. And then I'm squeezing this in actually in between. I have to go race back over to show this special property because I'm there. And then I have other appointments, phone calls, and emails. Okay, that's my day today. And I'm strategic with the time. And that means like just controlling your day. If you get a showing request or you have to meet with a buyer, just try to dictate it as much as possible. You know, it doesn't hurt to ask to change a time. If they want to meet at 10 and you need to meet at 11, just ask, and more than likely you'll be able to work it out. So you just have to be strategic and efficient as much as possible. And usually you'll figure it out. So I rarely say no. I've sold property, and I don't need to, but I don't want to say no. I've sold property out of my area. I just, last year I sold one in the Valley, and that's not really like me to just, you know, extend my time out there. But I felt I didn't want to say no. And so right now I don't say no to anything, because you just never know, you know, next couple of years, I might want to, you know, to have kids and want to slow down and be there for their event on the weekend. So right now I'm not saying no to anything, and that's okay.
And thanks for squeezing us in between all the 9 showings for your beautiful RPV 4 mil listing.
Rolling Hills, yes, $4 million. Come show it today. I'll be there all day.
She had to pitch a listing.
Be there all day too.
Yeah. Richard, say no. Is that something that you know? Agenda, ability, yes, no, no, yes.
I learned to say no about 40 years ago when I was on the police department, but I really haven't, beyond that, I really haven't had the desire or the need to say no a lot. Like Nicole, most of my business is referral business. So I've sold in Paris, and well, some of you don't know where that is, but Paris and Lake Elsinore and San Bernardino, and because they're my clients, so I go out there. So I don't generally say no to that, but I don't really have a desire to say no to a lot of stuff because I'm not to the point where I'm that busy where I can't service my clients or my referral customers or, you know, anything like that. So I know how. I almost said no to you to get on this, and then you told me I can't say no, but no, I'm kidding. But yeah, and I generally don't, I haven't had to up to this point.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome, yeah. Jason.
So my take on no is more about wasting my time. So I would say that people that clients of mine, you know, we meet with people, there's 3 things that are going to go down, right? Either they're going to choose to do business with me today, they're going to choose not to do business with me today, or I'm going to choose not to do business with them today. And that's a big no, because I'm not going to do business with people that are not like-minded, people that drain my soul, people that require me to do unethical things, people that cause me to be unhealthy or bad choices to myself, that's when I say no. Because I don't care what the deal is worth. When you put your soul and your health and your family at risk, that's when you say no. That's when you walk away and you promote them to somebody else. That's the lesson. Because when you put yourself out there, and believe me, I've been there, I ended up in positions where I felt I was literally going to just come apart at the seams. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. So when I talk to people about it and I say no, you usually get I'm committed to something else and I don't think I can fit this into my schedule, nor would I be a good value for you. But I'd happy to refer you over to Richard Spurling. And, and I think, that's the kind of thing where Richard would say, yeah, because he never says no. So, but it's really important because in this business, as much as Nicole likes to be at 24/7, as what are you, 17 or 18 years old, by the time you get to be about 30, you're going to be one tired little chicken. So you're really going to have to say more often and understand why it's good for your soul. And when you say yes to the right stuff and you vibrate at a whole different level in your business, the right business will come to you and the stuff you say no to won't even find you. That's my thought.
Love it. Yeah, that's awesome. Good thing you didn't talk to Richard Spurling before this session. When I spoke to him, he was like, not doing it. Stuff to do. Okay, good stuff, guys. Like I learned a lot, so thank you for sharing. Different question, and it applies to you and people that work for you, right? If you have an assistant, if you have buyers agents, if you have people on the team, if you have a business partner, etc. Right? If you mentor people, what do you use to manage your time and their time? How do you build that system? What is it?
Well, I don't have an assistant, so that's why I'm working 24/7. But that's also probably because, I'm control. I like being involved from start to finish. And, but I did bring someone in to help me with marketing. And I'm really, really particular about who I work with. And so that's challenging. I would love to bring on, someone to help and do whatever showings, but it has to be the right fit. So if you guys have any tips, let me know between other friends here, Richard and Jason. I don't know. Do you guys have assistants?
I don't have an assistant.
I don't either. And I don't feel like I need someone like, a full-time person. And I enjoy doing everything. I think that's why I get referrals, because I give all my, energy to people. I know exactly what's going on, with every aspect of the business. Yeah.
Well, we've brought on some juniors in the commercial space here to help with marketing and uncovering some of the marketplace for our large goals here in 2022. The system that we use has to do with just consistency and helping the juniors become better agents in the space. So I offer, a lot of coaching to them, but I think the system is based upon me wanting them to be independent down the road and become great listing agents in the commercial space. So that's my goal. So I know I won't be with them forever, but I know that if I'm effective in getting that done, then I will have reached my goal and I will make some money on the way there, and so will they. And I think that being just straight up and honest about the industry, when you have kind of a plan in helping people, and I'm there for them pretty much all the time. And I try to be a little bit more disciplined about my time, because they can be needy, but they're just learning and they need help. So, but at the same time, they're making money for themselves and for me. So that's kind of my plan with bringing on juniors. I don't have an assistant. I just use a TC for all my my transactional work, and reach out where I need for tech help.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. Like You value someone's time, you lift them up, you want them to be successful too. I do use a transaction coordinator. That is like a godsend for me. Robin in my office here, she's my transaction coordinator, and she really like keeps the brain of things rolling. So I can do everything else and deal with my clients and lead generating and all of that. So transaction coordinator is for me 100% a must in this business.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I think it's the little secret that they, when you start in this business, no one ever talked about.
Yeah.
Well, I figured it out first day in business. On my first transaction, I did the work and I said, I'll never do this again. I don't like paperwork like that. So I immediately start using a transaction coordinator. But I don't really anticipate that I'll have people working for me that works under me. I have people that I will work with and partners that work with me. I don't have an assistant right now because I really don't think I need an assistant right now. But like Jason, my purpose of having teammates is to get them on board, get them going, make them successful in their own business. And when they say, see ya, I'm on my own and they're successful, then I'll become successful after that. So, and that's why there's nobody that really works for me. Everybody works with me. And so, and team in our sense is everybody working together, not people that really work for me. Now they may get paid to do certain things that I might like them to do, but they're not employees, and I don't anticipate there ever will be. I've been doing management for 35 years, and I just don't want to manage a lot of employees at this point. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing I do want to say is having a transaction coordinator is amazing, but you need to know your contracts. And it's like surprising how many agents don't know their contracts. I know the contracts front to back. It's almost frustrating how much I know them, because a lot of people don't, and they do things wrong, or they don't know what they're filling out, especially with the new RPA. It's very interesting, some of the changes. So 100% know your contracts, because you need to know that. That's just a given. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The week after we went live on the new RPAs, I got an offer on the old contract, and they just didn't know how to fill out the new contract. So I had to give them time to do the new one.
Yeah, I just took a class this morning with my board on it. So I'm always educating myself. I never think that I know everything, because I don't. And I'm always trying to learn more. So yeah, I'm always taking classes or just studying our trade.
Good sharing. You see, like you're all of you very open-minded, right? To learn and implement. It's not like I know it all and then I'm stuck on my way and what have you. Let me grow, let me evolve, right? Yeah, good stuff. What do you have a business plan, right? And when I say business plan, it can be structured in various ways. I see people that they have the class, 411, 135, the whole charts and what have you. So like science, people that just use a piece of paper and writing goals, whatever, computer, right, or piece of paper. Do you follow any kind of plan or goal setting for your business? And if so, what do you use?
I keep things really simple. I do everything pretty much in my Google Drive. That way I have access to it all. And that includes my business planning. And it's very simple. It's on like basically a Word doc, but Google Drive. And I list out my goals and my marketing plan. Marketing is really important to me. And so every January I complete a marketing plan for the entire year, and coming up with all my new ideas, and then how I'm going to implement them and who's going to help me implement them. And so I like to do that every January. And then I just list out my goals, including my personal goals. And it's on a Word doc, very simple. I don't use any other like systems for planning. And same thing with like managing clients. I wish I was better at like using command and filling them out with all the details, but I don't. I really keep it simple. I write a lot of notes. I have like spreadsheets, or I have it in my phone, and I like to just write notes in my notes section. That's just like, I like to keep things really simple, and I don't want to do too much work to achieve the same thing. I want to keep it really efficient. So I just always write like little notes in my phone, and lists. I make lists, written out lists every single day, and I write it down. I like things on paper, and I like to check it off on my list. So it's kind of my systems. It's really basic.
I love the fact that you also build a marketing plan for the year. Most agents will do it by default, not by design. Like something happened, boom, I need a postcard or whatever it is. Oh, there's a holiday. Okay, let's do something. Let's look for it. You build it from either the end of the year or the beginning of the year towards, let's say 2022. And can you share a little bit about like what this marketing plan is? What does it mean?
Yeah, so I started working for Gordon doing marketing. So I built our marketing plan for the last 10 years. And so I have our systems in place, new listing, it's like clockwork. I made my own checklist, and that's how I like to work, is through checklists. Check it off, done, done, done. Schedule photos, schedule aerials, drones, schedule floor plan, put it on the MLS, like to the T. I write a list because it's how my brain operates, and I love it. And so that's for every single listing. That system is set up. And then when it comes to marketing plan for the year, that is more like, okay, what magazines are we advertising with? We do an email newsletter, and we do actual printed newsletter. So it's mapping it out, how many times a year is that going out? What neighborhoods? What list is that going to? And consistency is so important with marketing, being consistent and just doing it, whatever, monthly, quarterly. That's what works with marketing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
I'll go. One other thing I want to mention here is make sure you get a coach. I've got a coach, and it made a big difference in my business. When it comes to marketing, I'm going to tell you that I break it down to, the business plan, lead attraction, personal and professional development, and those three things. In your lead attraction, in my opinion, I learned from my coaches, I have 10 different marketing avenues happening all the time, and I'm constantly testing them to see how well they're working. And if I don't like one, I'll replace it, but I have 10 going all at the same time. Not always equally as effective, but I have 10 on the list, and that's my goal. I also, for my business plan, I keep things simple as well. And I just count the number of proposals that I want to have out each week. And whatever number of calls I have to make in order to get a proposal together to meet that number and those goals each week, that's what I count on. And I find that when I focus on that, the other things just sort of come together. Listings, purchases, proposals, referrals. I kind of get an idea of how many referrals I'm going to get throughout the year, what my expectations are, but I only measure the number of proposals that go out. It used to be meetings, but because of COVID, kind of throwing us all for a loop the last 24 months, I ran it into proposals. So that includes Zoom calls, that includes phone calls, that includes, chat rooms, podcasts, whatever it's going to be, that I'm getting out there and talking to principals in this space. And I keep it real simple. It used to be 2 proposals a week. This year it's going to be 4. And we didn't hit the kind of traction we wanted for last year, and we really need to take a large market share this year. So that's my goal. And that's just I think if you keep it really simple and come up with 10 marketing avenues that you can use. It's not easy to come up with 10 that you like, that you can afford. Really get after it and see what you can come up with. And then I always push in business planning, personal development, education, like Nicole talked about. Obviously good reads, good, reading, but pushing yourself forward. I think in this industry, one of the things that's really cool about it, it's ever evolving. It's not like we're labor attorneys and labor law never changes. This changes all the time. So by the time Nicole gets to be 25, this will be a whole different industry. right? So I mean, so I think it's really important that we embrace that in your business planning. It doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be break it down to, your commissions and so forth. Break it down, keep it simple. If you're in front of people 4 or 5 times a week proposing and asking for business, then you're doing your job, as long as it's the right people.
Like that, writing that down. 2 proposals a week.
Yeah, I mean, just get it done, and you'll find if you, like we did, if I haven't had the time to, get in front of those people, when I get up in the morning at 9 o'clock, you bet your sweet ass I know what I'm maybe doing right now. I'm going to be looking for a phone number to get in front of somebody to pitch a commercial deal to see if they're buying or if they'd like to, to sell one of their portfolio assets. It's a real simple goal, but it answers the question at 9 o'clock in the morning. What you doing? Well, I'm a little behind.
Yeah.
And first of all, Jason, I don't appreciate the fact that you don't throw those young person comments at me.
Well, I'm discriminating on purpose because I knew that, like you said 30 years ago in the police department, I knew you're older than 30.
As far as my goals, I have financial goals and I have operating goals. My financial goals are in a spreadsheet. At the time, I just started that way because QuickBooks was going to charge me too much to do a plan. So I did my plan in a spreadsheet, and it has my budget versus my actual for each month. My leads I have in a spreadsheet so I can track my conversion rate. I know that's old school, but track my conversion rate for leads. And I have an operating manual, actually right here. This is I call it my playbook. It's an operating manual to tell me what I'm going to do with buyers, sellers, the marketing for each, what I'm going to do at open houses this year, what I did versus last year, the marketing that I'm going to do and those type of things. So I created an operating manual for that. And I think basically that's, what I kind of lean on as far as planning, setting my goals, tracking my goals, and figuring out if I'm successful in each one as time goes by.
That's awesome. Jason, anything you want to add?
No, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I track everything as well. I do my own. I do everything pretty much like you said on spreadsheets. I track where the lead came from, seller, buyer, how I got them, so I know how many of my sales came from marketing, how many sales came from personal, whatever. I like to track everything too and measure it, so that way come January I review it all and then I say, okay, what worked best for me? But I love the idea of saying this week or every week I need to touch 2 people, whether that's meeting, listing appointment, buyer appointment, something. I love that. Just simplifying that, like, because sometimes we just try to do too darn much, and we try to also leads this, Zillow leads that, pay for this, pay for that. There's so much noise in our business. So keeping it simple will guide you for sure.
I have a question.
Question? Yes.
When we coach new agents, we always tell them, it's important to be an expert in the neighborhoods that you want to service. So do you have any tips, or what are the systems that you use when you're super, super busy, but you still want to keep your pulse on the market and the neighborhoods that you service? Are you checking MLS every day? Are there blogs and websites that you check out, or social media groups that you join? Like, how do you stay in touch with the neighborhoods that you work within?
Well, on my farm, and everybody probably does the same thing. So once I created a farm and I decided to constantly hit the farm every month with newsletters, and then every couple of weeks with other information. But that's just the statistical side of it. I keep in contact with my farm on Facebook. The farm has a Facebook page that I constantly comment on, constantly keep them updated on. I hooked into the councilman for that district. I hook into activities and I sponsor some activities. Obviously, when I'm out, just recently I sponsored a jazz festival in the 9th district. So I go out, talk to everybody, shake everybody and get to know everybody. So I'm more of getting involved in my farm on a personal level, as opposed to constantly just giving them statistics via mail or dropping it off at their front door. And that's worked out for me last year, you know, and I'm going to actually extend my farm in that area this year because of it.
I think, you know, I think we're talking about not two different things as well. We're talking about data. So again, leveraging every week, I get a report, a couple reports from Title. And I get those reports to find out what's going on in areas where I want business, blocks of business. You know, for commercial, it's a little bit different, but it's still the same idea. I get data every Monday and it's in my inbox. So I don't have to work to get it. It's just there. So I know what's gone to market, what's closed, what's in transition. And then I get some other data to keep an eye on everything that's happening in multifamily in certain areas, everything that's happening in industrial and office space. So I can see that and I follow the trends of that information to guide me in my decision-making for the marketing channels in which I use to get to the right people. That's what focuses me in on the 10 different marketing avenues that I use based upon what I'm seeing that's happening in the areas in which I want to be a listing agent. Let the data pick the avenues for you and just plug and play. But you have to leverage your title reps to give you that data and those reports and push them to the brink of their exhaustion to give you exactly what you need. And if you don't get it from one, there's another one that'll give it to you. But utilize that. You're not supposed to go out and find all this crap on your own because you'll get frustrated. You won't become an expert. You become an insane person. You're right. You're gonna check yourself into the hospital because you won't be able to keep up with it. You have them do it. You have them give it to you so you can analyze it so that when you knock on that door, you know that there's 16 sales within the last 50 homes around here, you know, which the average square foot price is, you know, everything about it. And all you do is got a report and you sound like the expert. Don't pretend that you can do it all by yourself. Leverage, and Title's got that information. They know everything. They're sitting in a catbird seat, and the stuff that they don't share with us is amazing. So squeeze them for it.
Good stuff. Right.
Yeah, I hit my farm, I'll call it, in my niche area monthly with some kind of marketing. And sometimes it's different platforms and avenues. So that's mail, that's email, that's social media. So there's always some kind of touch, like we like to call it, monthly, and then also definitely quarterly for kind of like my extended farms. So extended farms get marketing quarterly at least, and then my main farms get a monthly marketing. And we get a lot of just direct calls through our marketing because of consistency and reputation and name, all that branding and all that good stuff. But it's really just consistency in marketing the farm. And then I just go to brokers opens. I know every single listing in my area. And whatever, I know the details. I'm the expert on the area. I know how many sales, price per square foot, whatever. I know that I keep in touch with that stuff. And that's either just watching the MLS or pulling statistics like from Title or from other avenues.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff. Last question before I'm going to let you go. And it is, share one breakthrough that, you know, whatever comes to mind that in life or in business that made a significant difference in your life and made you who you are today.
You guys go first, old timers.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice. Well, I got to get my glasses on.
I knew I should have said no.
Yeah. So I'll say two things. I will say that my failures have been my biggest learning throughout my entire life and career. That's the thing that's made the biggest difference, is my unique ability to fall right on my face and pick myself back up and learn from it, and walk and not keep it, in the back of my mind that I was a failure. Just learn from what it was, and then bringing on the right people to work with. I'll give a shout out to Denise Manugian, who works with us in the KW office here, and she's been a godsend to two of my deals that I've had this year, to bring in her expertise. And she's been, kind of a true north of great things that I don't do very well, and she does fantastically. And those two things, this particular idea of bringing other people on to help you, that is a real key. So learning from my failures, which I've been trying to do things by myself, and bringing other people on has really helped. And that's kind of where, like I said, the shout out to Denise and her help that she's been to me. I can't thank her enough. So there you go.
Good stuff. She's amazing.
Well, mine is real quick and easy. Early in my management career, I reported directly to the president, and I was a product manager at the time, and I just couldn't seem to get managers that worked under me to do the things that I needed them to do. And I knew it all. I was really smart in that business. And when I sat down before her, she simply said, look, nobody's going to care about what you know unless they know you care. And I carried that on throughout business several times. And I think it's true. I mean, even with your farms, I think if your people out there know that you care about them, who they are, what they do, their children, they care more about you if you care about them, as opposed to if you are a genius in how property is priced. And the other thing is, later on, I was working for a different company at this time, and I didn't have the results from my supervisors that I was looking for. And the vice president at this point said, well, who are you being that they are not shining? Meaning, I'm doing something to make myself look good, but I'm doing nothing to make them look good. So it should all be about them as opposed to all about me. And that's changed my entire career, my entire outlook on, not only just having employees, but working with people also.
That's so awesome, by the way. It's very common in the corporate environment, right? Corporate business environment, that they don't really teach you. So you're very fortunate to have great mentors as well, to be able to do that and implement it in, very, very wise manner. So thanks for sharing. That's brilliant. Cool.
For the record, I'm 27. My breakthrough is relationships, the relationships that I've made through this business. And that starts with my mentor, my sales partner, Gordon Inman. 47 years in the business, grew up in the projects, very, very, very poor, and didn't make any excuses for that. He was 18 when he bought his first property. And then shortly after that, became an owner of an office, in his early 20s. So I look at him and I'm like, God, I grew up privileged compared to that. And so he's been my mentor. And he's always told me the key is to show up every day, learn your trade, and do the work. That's all.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't say any other fancy things. That's what he tells every new agent that walks through the door and sits in front of him and asks him, like, what do I need to do? And that's what he's told me for the last 10 years. So he's been my mentor, and I've just, that's my breakthrough, is learning from someone like with that much experience. And I don't take that for granted. And so I follow that, and I want to learn from him, continue to, just absorb as much as I can. That's my breakthrough.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Well, Nicole, you're my new hero. 27 and killing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, well played.
Well, it's going to be. So go ahead, Richard.
I was going to say, she threw that 27 at us, Jason, for a reason. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I got nothing.
Well, we're gonna hang out in the, we're gonna hang out in the desert for our retreat soon, so it's gonna be nice to kind of meet all the LCs as well. By the way, all those guys are serving on the board of their offices too. So thank you for doing that, right? Busy life, right? Mix of life and balance. Nicole, forget about balance. Focus on harmony, right?
Yeah.
Nicole, Jason, Richard, anything last to say before we're gonna let you guys go back to your schedule?
No, thanks, guys. I enjoyed listening to the old timers. They really know what they're doing.
Don't we though?
You asked for it. You asked for it, Jason.
No, I got some
Right.
really good stuff. I always want to learn from people long in the business. I always have major respect for that. It's not an easy business.
Awesome. Yeah. That's a valid tip. So guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for supporting the integrity of our culture, all those offices across the Pacific, right? And keep it up. Keep that mindset, that beautiful attitude, and the great success. So I appreciate you and all the people on the chat on the Zoom today. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Whoever's gonna watch us later. So
I have one more question for Richard, if possible, before he leaves.
so hold on for a second. I'm gonna do this.